How's it going, Mullenites? So we've now produced 500 vehicles, and how are we feeling? Well, I guess based on the market reaction, there was a bit of excitement initially with the press release from Mullen Automotive, but the fact that the stock only finished up by about 2 cents on the day, and given how far it's tumbled in the last week and a half or so, generally there's not that much optimism. 500 vehicles in itself is a bit of a modest milestone. Obviously, this is a growing company, and to have produced 500 vehicles is something. We don't know exactly how many of those 500 vehicles have been sold to date, based on what's come out from Randy Marion, that there is demand and they are negotiating sales with, people who need these commercial EVs. But, the fact that they've only set a goal of selling 100, or they're hoping to sell 100 units in April, doesn't suggest that they've necessarily sold everything, despite having over $200 million in pre-booked sales for Mullen Automotive. Now, obviously we've kind of covered some of this detail in recent times about where things are going with the company financially. But I just want to talk a little bit about the press release that came out today from Mullen Automotive. Other than saying that they've produced 500 vehicles, I found it quite interesting that they sort of discussed their strategy going forward. And, two things stood out to me. They sort of mentioned that there is the expansion of the dealership network. I know that Mullen did express that they were looking to expand how many dealers they were working with to sell Mullen vehicles. And, obviously that's obviously a plus. If you've got more dealerships on board looking to sell your vehicles, that's going to generate more sales for the business, and that's obviously a plus. But they haven't actually confirmed who these dealerships are, and they're sort of saying that they're hoping that they're going to be in place from June. June is 2 months away. It'll be interesting to see where Mullen is in terms of its cash situation, as well as like how it's going with its NASDAQ listing, because obviously we know there are a lot of pressures there, which I'll probably touch on in a little bit. And the other point I found quite interesting is that Mullen is looking to sell 800 units in Europe. They're looking to sell internationally. Now, when they came out the other week and sort of said that they are streamlining their their systems just to focus on commercial production, that was something I thought the company needed to do a long time ago. And I always kind of felt that one of Mullen's biggest problems that they were trying to be a bigger company than they were and before they were. And that's why they had such terribly high cash burn, especially through research and development, all these projects. And they just kind of thought that they could go and raise money to fund them and destroy shareholder value. While selling 800 units is good, selling them in Europe, I feel like it's kind of might be a little bit premature to be trying to sell things overseas. If there is definitely a market demand for the vehicles, I wouldn't mind seeing them try to sell overseas. But at the moment, I think they really need to be concentrating on their sales in the United States. It's a lower risk and a lower cost move because there's already dealership deals in place, and more hopefully being negotiated. So I don't know. I don't think selling in Europe is a good idea, because obviously it's going to cost a bit more money to get the vehicles out there too, and the company's going to be subject to different legal regulations. Therefore, it's going to be bigger legal costs. So I don't think selling overseas at the moment is the best option for Mullen Automotive. But if it's profitable and they can make it work, sure. But my immediate reaction is it's kind of a bit of a, again, trying to project itself, the David and the company trying to project themselves as being bigger than what they are at the moment. This is a company that's only made 500 vehicles. You're not Ford, you're not GM, you're not Tesla, okay? You're not there yet, and you're a long way from getting there, and I don't know if you're going to get there. Now, in terms of how the company's going financially, I've kind of sort of covered my thoughts on that recently. I really have a lot of concern for where the company is in terms of a cash position, and whether or not they actually have the ability to raise more money, either through equity or debt funding. One thing that did occur to me just recently about the company is, and it could be where they might raise some money, I might get the two locations wrong, but in their release on the 8th of April about how they're going to focus on commercial operations, they made the point that they're going to combine the operations of the Jackson and Irvine engineering centers. Now, I might have got the names wrong there. I'm not 100% across American geography, not living there, of course. But there might be one of the solutions that Mullen might have for short-term survival. The fact that they're combining these two operations might mean that they are looking to offload one of the facilities, or at least use one as a source of revenue, i.e. get a loan against it, or, some sort of deal. And, I kind of said yesterday that maybe they might try to sell one of their facilities, which they own, obviously outright, and, either have it rented back or have struck some sort of deal with whoever buys it. Now, this is like obviously very similar to what Foxconn did with Lordstown Motors before Lordstown Motors went under. They gave Lordstown Motors a lifeline by buying their facility and allowing them to use it to produce vehicles, but obviously that was very ill-fated. Perhaps some sort of similar deal might occur for Mullen Automotive and one of these facilities, or they might just purely sell it and hopefully get the money. But again, in this climate, like, who wants to buy a car engineering facility? Like, it's high interest rates. There's obviously a lot of vehicles in the EV sector a lot of companies in the EV sector have been struggling and going under. So there might not be much appetite for such a sale, but you never know. There's obviously always someone looking to buy, especially if they see some value in it. And if Mullen was to sell or finance one of these facilities, that could be what at least gives the company the short-term cash that they need. But again, eroding the asset base of the company, which is probably the only strong thing that the company has, is that they did have a lot of assets on their books, but it might be what they need to do to survive. Again, though, it's going to hurt shareholders. There's no easy way through this for the shareholders. That's the bottom line. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I will keep updating you guys on Mullen with my thoughts as we go. Share yours in the comments below. If there's any other stocks that you are quite interested in looking at, please share them too. I've kind of been beating the drum for Mullen for a long time. I used to look at other stocks on here, but I kind of streamlined my efforts to focus on Mullen, I suppose. I do talk about other stuff, but, I'm always interested to see what other people look at in terms of stocks. Yeah, anyway, until next time, may the markets trade in your favor. Cheers.